Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. A little later than usual, but I was in the air. I was flying, so I couldn't stream. Welcome. Staffy's here with me. Don is in the house. Man like Lawless is here too. We've got quite a few subjects to talk about now as football is... It's kind of returning, but it feels like it isn't because none of us are playing this weekend. It's the FA Cup. We'll all be cheering on for City to go out, hopefully, but against Bournemouth. But... lots to talk about with Maresca cancelling days off and exploding at his squad. We're talking about the shock return of Saka this week, plus what impact is Berta going to have at Arsenal, and the new youth project at Manchester United. David Ornstein today stating that United will be predominantly pursuing young players only. How much of that do the panel and you believe? Is that the right tactic? Will there be a bit of a hybrid? Or will the new babes at United be built? Of course, hit like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing. Get this shared in your group chats right now. But gentlemen, how are you? Well, you're all well? You're all good? Healthy?
Good. I'm good. I went on the TL earlier. I don't know if you lot have seen the little meme of what was it? You know when Grandpa Simpson walks into the house and he comes straight back out again. Yeah. I saw Chelsea Twitter losing their head after this little trading thing, man. You know what I mean? So I just said, yeah, let me get the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm good, man.
We will come on to that. We will come on to that. It's an interesting subject. I mean, DJ's already. He says he's laughing, but he's raging. Maresca explodes. CFC rage bait. See, this is the problem with you, DJ. You're saying it's rage bait, but it's Chelsea fans that have been sharing this all over socials, getting mad about it. We're going to have a conversation, and he has exploded at his players. And we'll get onto the story later, but they were so bad in the training game against their under-21s and got battered that he cancelled a day off. That is what I call a manager at any level. If your boss says to you, right, you can all have tomorrow off, an extra day off work, we're doing so well, and then you have a terrible day, and he puts you on blast and says, you're all coming to work tomorrow. That's a leader exploding, my friend. That's no rage bait. For me, that is, according to the story, it's a cast iron fact. But more to come on that a little bit later in the show. Let us all know where you're watching from as well. And yes, thank you, Anthony, encouraging everybody to get the like button smashed as well. Where are all the comments? We've got quite a few people watching. I can't see no comments coming through at the minute. We can see a few, but the comments are kind of slow today, so get them comments up. But I wanted to start with the United story. And I only read about this United story this morning because I was getting ready to leave Ireland, and man like Ches, he can be a strange. Your twin brother can be I say twin brother because you're like Siamese twins. But one of your tweets, the other ones. I still think you hold the phone he types. I think it's one of them ones. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? Listen, every time I come in that group chat, it's always Ches just grilling you lot. KJ comes back in, with dissertation.
Do you know what I don't think he realizes? Right? People get frustrated with him. In my opinion, none of us talk about Ches when he's not there. But in my opinion, he gets really angry when anyone in the group ats him. Really angry. He's like, you weirdos, why at me? I'm just busy at work. But all he does all day is fucking at people. He's a troll. He lives under a bridge, brother, 110%. But he put the story in today that Man United's focus is going to be predominantly on buying good, high quality young players as opposed to focusing on more tried and tested, more experienced players moving forward. And I really wanted to get the panel's view on that today because obviously Chelsea have had a hell of a lot of criticism of late for buying too many young players and focusing on that. So it's one of these things where I want to get your take on it. United going down a similar path, or do you read it differently? Or what do you make of it? I've got to Staffy first as a United fan. Do you think this is the right way to go, looking at high quality, good young players to build the squad with?
Oh, for United, like a youth project. I mean, we've needed something like that for a while because when you really look at our signings the last few years, we've been, I wouldn't say the last few years, for a lot of years now, we've been splashing a lot of money on like players that we probably signed 3-4 years too late, putting on crazy money, and by the time it's time to replace them, we don't have a natural replacement coming up from the youth stages. Like we just don't have a lot of them. Yes, we still have our Mainus, our Rashfords, our Garnachos. There's been a lot, but like in terms of real quality players that we're signing to come in, and I've been saying this for a while. I've just been wanting us to sign the best young talent in the country. And this is when I was like joking. I was like, yeah, bring Brexit back, because I know that's what Wilcox is looking at. He's looking at bringing in a lot of good young talent from England and all around in general. So I'm not against it. I think the only issue we're gonna have is because the squad is still too poor. A lot of people wouldn't really accept just signing a lot of young players that will listen. You'll see the fruits of that in about 3 to 4 years, but that's a lot of years still. A lot of people are going to look at this team, and rightfully so, and say, well, while we do that, we still need ready now players. We need a striker that comes in right now and can lead the line, because we have 2 young strikers. One of them is just clearly struggling. He's rumored to be moved out. We just don't have enough quality on the pitch. So we're replacing them with just young players. I like it. I've been wanting us to go down that route a little bit. That's low-key the identity of our club when you really think about it. United have been built over the youth that come through the academy. So recruiting players to put them in the academy right now, and they'll be there in the next couple of years, yeah, that's fine. But what about the now? Because fans won't be patient. And that's the thing of being at a big club. Like we can't be just doing what Brighton do. Brighton can get away with it because they don't have high expectations. They're technically, Brighton are meeting all their goals. Their goals is not to win the league, not to win the Champions League. It's just to be successful, be in the top half of the table. I mean, it used to be just being in the Premier League. Now they chill in the top half of the table. They make sales after recruiting a player for 1 or 2 years. They're probably the most profitable club in England right now. Just that's cool. We can't be that. We're too big of a club to just be recruiting in young players. We need some ready now players.
I'm going to read what he said though for full clarity here. His words were, we're hearing their so this is Ornstein talking about United. We're hearing their preference will be to continue what they has been their approach more recently. So January, younger talent costing lower transfer fees and salaries who fit Ruben Amorim's system and style and can develop into players with increased market value. Now, again, some people that's the bit that will frustrate people, because I say, well, what does the market value matter? For me, I like the idea of buying players before they're superstars. Fergie did that for 25 years. I've got no issue with that. The wording of increased market value makes it sound like they're just going to sell them on for a profit. That's something to be wary of and push back against. He says, I'd imagine there will be further recruitment along the lines of you mentioned, rather than going for the likes of Gyökeres and Osimhen. Please, he then does say this though, and Ches in the group chat missed this bit. Please don't hold me to that, because you never know in this unpredictable industry. But that is the direction of travel being explained to us. And I think KJ might have added a bit more. He also said, don't hold him to it, because things can change, especially if the Europa League is one as an example. So I sort of look at it down those lines and think, again, I always think these things are about balance. I didn't think Chelsea had a bad methodology when they had that first summer where they bought a lot of experience and it didn't work. Then they started buying a lot of youth. My only question mark over Chelsea came this January when they got themselves into a title race, or the burning embers at the beginning of one, and then didn't add the experience we could all see they needed. So far, it looks like they're still signing more youngsters. So you start to look at it and go, well, you're really close and you just need that spine. I almost feel like why wait? Why wait 3 years for this spine to mature when you're so close to a title race now and you can add some experience? And I'll have that same energy for Man United. If we go out this summer and buy one experienced player who says 25, and then we sign 4 or 5 that are 20, 21, 22, and 23, I'm just making the ages up here. If we do that summer one, I'm not going to sit there and panic. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, we're never going to buy experience. Where I would be frustrated is saying exactly 2 years' time, with 4 or 5 points off the top, we get to that January window, and you go, right, we really do need that prolific, experienced striker. And we go out and try and sign a 19-year-old, then I'm going to criticize it in the same way I have done with Chelsea, because that for me isn't the way to operate. I think you have to be agile in your approach. So, but the idea of buying youngsters before everybody else knows who they are and buying superstars before they're superstars, that doesn't bother me because that's what I grew up on. As a Man United fan, we bought a lot of players that nobody had heard of, or we bought them when they were like Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is a prime example. We bought him. The world of football knew who he was. The general public in England, maybe a little bit less than we would nowadays because there's less access. But we bought him before he was a superstar. Wayne Rooney, you could say we bought when he already was one, but he improved a lot at Manchester United. Then there's other examples of us going out there, and we actually got Van Nistelrooy when he was quite young. He would have come even younger, but he ruptured his cruciate ligament in training. People forget that as an example. So yeah, I'm not stressed about it. I'm not looking at it thinking, oh my God, we're just going to buy 18-year-olds every single window. I also look at like Heaven and Dorgu that have come in. And in the last month, they've been two of our best players. So I'm also not going to panic either. But Don, I want to go to you on this because obviously you've kind of, you like elements that Clearlake have done. There's been elements you've criticized heavily, and that must be said. What do you think this is the right approach for Man United?
Yeah, I think United, first of all, I think they've needed a little bit of injection of youth, man. Especially with how Amorim wants to play, bro. You need players that can, first of all, get around the pitch. You know, when I'm watching Dorgu, I can see exactly why long term he's the sort of profile you want in the team. You know, you're looking at Euro as well, like Maguire's getting on a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at Eriksen, Casemiro. You've got an aging squad. You know what I'm saying? So it's time to just bring in a little bit of youth. But same energy as what I've got for Clearlake. Make sure that you're bringing in experience at the same time. You know, there's so many counteracting points here, Terry, because even with Caicedo, you guys wanted Caicedo, but you didn't want to pay, what was it, a 4 or 5 million at the time that they wanted. And look how much Chelsea ended up paying for this guy.
Yeah.
In the end, 115 million, bro. So you want to catch these guys before they blow up, bro. You know, if we try to go and buy Andre Santos now, it's a match.
Man United have kind of done similar to Arsenal in the late 90s and noughties. Arsenal were the team that had I think Arsenal could have signed Yaya Toure, Zlatan, and Cristiano Ronaldo before anybody else. And there's another star player that I think Zlatan's was funny where they said you've got to come and do a trial, and he said like Zlatan doesn't do trials. And you look at it and just think Arsenal, they regularly missed. I mean, they signed some really good youngsters as well. Cesc Fabregas as an example. They got a young Van Persie in. Man United have missed out on so many, and this is the irony in it. It was the bankers and the marketing experts not listening to the professional scouts and not getting. Caicedo is a player that we should have got, as you say, for 4 or 5 million. We should have signed Haaland when he was at Mold. Before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was our manager, he was ringing the club saying, you need to buy this kid. And the club the bankers and the marketers didn't listen. So again, it's one of
they wanted the big names to commercial purposes.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you.
I think what it is, I think for the talking point before we come in, like Lawless, right? I want to get your take on this actually. I think it's a situation where it's like a bit of FOMO as well, Terry, because it is damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? And the only way you're gonna get away with signing these kids is if you're winning. Because Roman used to sign a lot of kids that we didn't know about. Obviously, this was the days before Fab, so they never used to get reported every 2 seconds. But the difference at the time is that we were still winning, so no one really cared like that. You know, if you go look at Chelsea's history with Cobham, bro, if we didn't have that transfer ban, Fott knows where Mason Mount would be. You know, Fott knows where Reece would be. You know, Tammy, all these guys. I don't think they would have got opportunities like that because we were bringing in young players from all over Europe. You know what I'm saying? So what it is here, I think. Listen, clubs need to, you know, find these gems when they're young and before they blow up. Because what happens in 10 years' time, Terry, when you've got a player like a Haaland, and then you look back at the history, you're like, oh yeah, Arsenal nearly signed him, United nearly signed him. Fans are like, what the fuck? Why didn't we sign him? And it's like, well, at the time you wanted the big names, right? That's why we didn't sign him.
Well,
you need to do both. You need to do both.
Man United fans have this disgusting habit of being turncoats on transfers. The same people I'm watching today kick off about the youth project. Oh, this youth project nonsense. I hate the United DNA. They're the same fans for years that I've gone, we always sign the obvious signings. We always sign them after the fact. Why don't we sign the obscure people that no one's heard of? And I just feel like, I think what it really boils down to is fans of clubs like Man United, there's a percentage that will never be happy until the trophies are being lifted. And if we, whatever the project is, whatever the approach is, if we went out and bought superstars this summer and won the league, they'd love it. If we went out and bought kids and then we ended up winning the league, they'd say, yes, it works. It's just this element of no approach is good enough unless you're winning.
Facts.
And it's just and no one is willing to give anything any kind of time whatsoever.
Yeah, bro. You know, and the thing that's the beauty of the game, though. There's so many aspects of the game where you just have to be patient, whether you like it or not, right? If you go look at Saka, where he is now in comparison to where he started off, he wasn't the same player. But that's the beauty of it, bro. You watch the journey. You watch how he came into the team. You watch how his body, bro. Like he develops his body in terms of bulking up and whatnot. You watch how he gains more confidence, more experience. You know, he scores more goals. He gets more assists. He becomes the player that he is. And that's part of the game that a lot of people don't have a lot of patience for, Terry. You know what I'm trying to say? For me personally, I like it, bro. I like seeing these academy kids coming through. They're like, yo, you see the potential, but I want to see them around players that are ready to be winning, ready to be competing. Otherwise, you're throwing in a bunch of kids together and you're asking them to guide each other when they haven't really got the experience of being guided themselves. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's a risky strategy because, like you said, there's a long-term, obviously, vision for it. If it doesn't pan out in the long term, right, and these youngsters don't fulfill their potential, because that's what you're signing when you're signing these youngsters. You're signing potential, and you're hoping that they fulfill that potential. So if you're mainly focusing around this group of youngsters with maybe a couple of experienced players, then the averages still rely on those youngsters to be successful for you to get where you want to go. Like next season, really and truly, like you need quality players. You really need to improve that squad so you have a good season next season. There's no good signing like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. I hope they come good in 2 to 3 years' time, and we're still seeing the same Man United. Like the team that's there, that it needs some serious quality in it, which I think you can find. Like if you look and sign maybe the 24-year-olds that are ready now, players. And then you sprinkle in some quality academy prospects. That's what West Ham apparently we're trying to do. I've seen us linked with a bunch of 17-year-olds and things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question though? Because the irony is we do need to sign experience, but if we as Man United fans start talking about experienced players, first of all, you get they won't come to you. That's the first thing. The second thing you get, if I say, well, let's go get Kudus or Bowen, you ain't fucking getting them. You ain't touching them. So it's hard to have conversations about what Man United need because you are right. Like I'd like to sign Bowen as an example. At the same time, rightfully so from your perspective, those experienced players that everybody would name are also going to be massively overpriced. Whatever Bowen's worth, your club is going to want 20, 30, 40 million pound more. And this is the mistake Man United have made in the last 12 years. One, the mistake that's why we run out of cash, because we've overpaid for most players and undersold because we've been chasing the experience. And yes, I understand that signing Bowen now, and I'm using him as an example because you're here as a West Ham fan, there is much, he's ready to go straight away, but that is going to come at a massive, massive premium. Where what you can do
as well.
But it doesn't have to be Prem experience though, Terry. Like, yeah, if you're playing Prem premiums, yeah, but if you're signing, say, 24-year-olds in Europe that are good, and you look at them and you look at the profile of player that they are, and see
okay, I get that, but you look at Dorgu so far as an example. He hasn't had that many games. He's 20 years old. He's going to turn 21 next year. I can't think of very many attainable 24-year-olds that can play left back and can play in that kind of hybrid 10 role that we play, who are better than Dorgu is right now. I can't think of many 24-year-olds that are again attainable. So of course you can name me better left wing backs than him that are a little bit older, but I mean attainable for a sensible price. And this is where United have got
I don't think we should really be focusing on the age though, Terry, man, because like it's all about the experience. You know what I mean? Like,
and I understand that. I get your point. But generally speaking, a 24-year-old's got more game time than a 20-year-old, and a 20-year-old typically has more game time. There's anomalies. You know, your Mao at 16 has got more experience than any 16-year-old that I remember ever having. But he's an anomaly in that. And I think from my perspective,
explain this accusation from Terry though, from Staffy though, Terry, that you want to build around 32-year-old Bruno, because I see that in the group chat and I didn't see the follow. I didn't see your response to this.
I ignore Staffy when he talks bullshit. That's the problem, because when he talks like that, because what's that? Staffy loves Man United, but every now and then he turns into a Liverpool fan, and it's frustrating. When it comes to players he hates, this little venomous side comes out in him. If that makes sense, he's
it has nothing to do with me hating Bruno. At least, listen, you got to give me credit that at least I came out and said he's been playing well when other people wouldn't. There's a lot of content creators out there that wouldn't say it because their ego is just. It's too much for them to admit. As much as I hate Bruno, he's balling right now, so I can't say it. That's not me.
Yeah,
I said he's been playing well.
Yeah,
but you know what's crazy?
Yeah,
I heard last week, and this is the misrepresentation that happens sometimes. I heard Henry. This is why Henry talks bullocks is a thing. He comes out and says, Bruno.
Bollocks.
I don't know how you guys say that word. Bollocks or whatever. He comes out and says, Bruno had a great season. And I'm like, what? That guy was getting sent off for fun in the beginning of the season. He was atrocious in the beginning of the season.
No, he got sent off once.
3 times.
Hang on, but one of them was rescinded.
It got rescinded. It doesn't mean that he didn't get sent off for the day. He wasn't there for the day.
Well, it means it wasn't a red card tackle, so we can't be blamed for it.
All right, there's still 2 more.
If you falsely get put in prison, right, and then you get let out because they screwed you over and I wouldn't still call you a criminal. You were still a criminal.
He was playing bad, which is my point. He was playing so bad in the beginning of the season. He goes on a good run, and now I'm hearing people say, "Let's rebuild around Bruno." Bro, who rebuilds around a 32-year-old?
But look, I'm going to put it this way.
Far off winning
I don't want to. I'll take it another step further. I agree with you. I wouldn't build the team around any player in the world. I would build a system and that profiles fit into. Because if you ever become solely reliant, there's always going to be an element of being reliant on a player if and when we sign or develop superstars. So Mo Salah, Liverpool's system will still operate without him. His output and consistency of output is hard to replace. But I wouldn't ever build a system that solely relies on the specification of an individual. You need to build a system that works with or without people. And that's why Pep's been so successful in the last 8 years that, we've got no striker. We can go to a false 9, but the system still works. You still need quality in your squad, right? I'm not saying you can just have dog shit players, but I agree with you. I wouldn't build anything around Bruno, but it's not because it's Bruno. I wouldn't build the system around, I would be buying profiles and then utilizing them within the system that is the system needs to be the centerpiece. And then you use the right profiles in the right areas, like what the manager has been saying about Casemiro recently. I'm using him in a way in my system that gets the best out of him, rather than so it exercises his pros rather than exposing his cons. And so I do agree with you. I wouldn't build it around Bruno either. I
said it by the way also in the context that we were talking about Ryan Shirky, and I was like, I'd love to get Ryan Shirky, but this fan base wants to rebuild around Bruno. That was the statement I made. Yeah, and then I had people in the chat like Canadian saying, "Oh, but we can have both." No, you can't.
Well,
I'm hearing KJ saying, "Oh, let's now keep Bruno and playing in the deeper position." No, we can't. Just because he's doing a job now doesn't mean he's a natural player.
I look at it this way. Yeah, but I look at it this way. One, he's not 32; he's 30, by the way. So you've added 2 years to him on that. He's
I thought what someone said here. I thought he was 30 to be honest.
No, he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old.
Hype, man.
Again, I look at it this way.
You said 32 in the group chat, Staffy. You said,
you know what? I'm gonna VAR check right now. Someone was wrong.
Go and check.
VAR.
Terry wants to rebuild around 32-year-old Bruno. That's
I never said
I said 31.
But I
look at least I was up by a year. You added it.
He's in his 31st year. We'll agree to disagree. But look, I look at it this way. It's not about building it around Bruno. This is what's crazy about United fans. The same people saying, got to get rid of Bruno, are the same guys saying, we can't just buy kids and need experience. So it's about the blend. So I would like over the course of the next 3 summer transfer windows to eventually have a completely new midfield. I like, as long as it keeps getting better and better. I don't really care who leaves, as long as a collective we're getting better. But in the short term, we need Bruno because we're going to need the experience that he brings. In the short term, people like him, De Ligt, Mads are going to be important if we're buying young players. We're going to need that. And what I have seen with Bruno, his improvement has coincided with a bit more pace and energy being put into the team, and there being more structures to the way we play. So I'm very comfortable with, for the next 2 or 3 years, Bruno still being an important part of our team and our squad. I really, really am. And it's horses for courses. You need a team that is adaptable where, okay, this game, this player's playing in that 10 role alongside Ahmad. The next game, we're going to change it because we need someone that's a bit more like this. I want to have that. Ideally, I want a squad like that. That is, if I think back to the very best version of my football club, we never knew who was being picked. Like there was a handful of players we knew, like Rooney starting most games. But even then, fucking hell, Rooney's on the bench today. Or he was on the bench because there's a player coming in like Park Ji-sung to do a specific job on a player. I want that. I want
that's exactly why we call it Pep Roulette. You know, if you know about if you play fantasy, you'll know about Pep Roulette because it was very risky to pick certain players that play for Man City because one week they start, next week they're being benched. Doesn't mean they had a bad game, but it's like, okay, if we're playing against a Brighton, we'd rather go for, you know, this type of winger rather than that winger. So this guy can sit on the bench, right? And that's exactly what I want for Chelsea as well. And that's why I explained to you, I would still keep Sancho as a squad player because I think you can use him in different situations, but I wouldn't use him in every situation. You know what I mean? Whereas there's some players, bro, that you need in most of the games. Like
exactly. I'll give you an example with Bruno. I actually also think in the last 5 years, Bruno's been overplayed. The amount of games in cup competitions against, and I'm not talking lesser Premier, I'm talking League One, Championship teams, the amount of times he's still played, because in actuality, there hasn't been much more creativity in the team. Whether Bruno's here or not, if we have a star playmaker, they say it's how do you pronounce his name? The Leon Cherky. Say it's him. I want a situation where we don't have to play him all the fucking time. I don't want him having to play 50, 60 games a season. It'd be nice to be able to rotate, keep his legs fresh as well. So I want a nice balance there. Let's go to a few of the comments that have come in. David here says, lose Rashford, Shaw, Malacia, Anthony, Mount, Casemiro, Sancho by a striker. Turkey is a good option too, and another right wing back, though we have Matondo and something.
Who is this Matondo guy? I keep hearing about him. I saw news on him today.
He got his first. I mean, I don't know much about him, if I'm being blunt, because I don't watch MUTV anymore. But he's got his first professional contract. We have a lot of really good players in our academy at the moment, so that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. Out of context, did you hear what Merson said about Tuchel? No. I saw what the Guardian, fucking what a rag, tried to do to Harry Redknapp yesterday. Tried to say he did the Nazi salute.
Oh yeah.
I watched the video. He made again. We used to be a country that prided ourselves on humor. He was taking the piss. He wasn't being derogatory, basically saying that Tuchel's a spy. And he was just saying it was not a Nazi salute. The way Jacob Steinbeck tried to make that sound like he did a Nazi salute, I could not believe they tried doing that to him. Is crazy.
That's how you know it's international break, man.
Yeah. Problem is that things are reported as blanket statements. United are targeting young stars. People interpret that as buying only youngsters. The balance of what might actually happen is not reported.
You know what, Patrick? I'm glad that you said that. Let me respond to that, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter losing their head because they constantly keep seeing Delap's name be mentioned. But I'm like, the window ain't even open yet. You don't know what these guys are cooking up in the back. Last season, bro, we had Neto. We didn't have a single link for Neto. All of a sudden, we see a here we go from Fabrizio and Fabrice Hawkins saying Chelsea about to sign this guy. So when people are just getting mad and that, I'm like, bro, like, just take time and wait. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I agree with that line of thinking. It's a mass. People again, they go to the nth degree every single time. And it was only a few months ago on socials, everyone was saying, "Oh my God, we're not going to get kids anymore. We're going to abandon our youth policy at the football club." People were literally panicking. No more youth players are going to come through because they were looking to sell Garnacho. We're not going to sign anyone. Now it's like, no, we need experience. We don't need youth players. People, like, they're up and down like crazy. It's just sometimes just let things cook a little bit. This is an interesting comment, but I want to respond to it because I feel like it today. What, you're part of the United stand now? Yeah, Terry. You know, when someone puts yeah, it's a very passive aggressive way of talking in that context. Then he says, sold out. Yeah. I've had a few people say this to me. I've sold out. What have I sold out? What am I saying different about my club, Man United, on the United stand that I'd say that I don't say on the Football Terrace? Or do I say different things on each platform? The answer is no. I say what I want. I'm not coached. No one tells me what I can and can't say. Of course, I'm going to be respectful. So I will swear maybe more on the Football Terrace because it's my platform. That's me respecting. It's like I swear in my own house. I wouldn't go around Don's house and just start swearing because it's not my home. But sellout, no. I was given an opportunity to go on the biggest Man United platform in the world and speak what I believe to be right about my football club. That is why I took that opportunity with both hands, because I get to speak to the biggest Man United audience on God's green earth. So if you want to consider that selling out, you can. My opinions are the same. I'm just speaking to a different audience now, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, if you think Smokey, if you think that's selling out, then fair enough. But you've got to show what I've sold out. You've got selling out would be I backed Ineos fully 100%, which is, by the way, an exaggeration. I don't back them 100%. I went on the United stand and go, yeah, Goldbridge, you're right, they're pricks. That would be a sellout. Someone who completely abandons their opinions because of moving platforms. Show me where I've done that. If you can show me the evidence that I've done it.
You know,
Yeah.
Principles.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't. You know, I think the same thing. But
listen, I got invited, but I didn't want to be a sellout like Terry, so I didn't join. So Terry's the one.
Well done, Daffy.
You wish, bro. You wish.
True integrity.
Hang on a minute. You've sent me 4 voice notes in the last month. Please ask Mark if I can come on. Please. No, he hasn't.
Don't expose me. Don't expose me.
Don even said he'd change teams to come on the United stand. So no, I'm only messing. But now listen, it's like end of the day, it's an opportunity to speak to a massive audience, to give your view and say on your football club. And it was an honor to be invited, and an even bigger honor to be asked to host shows on it. So yeah, there we go. That's it. Simple. Done. Job done. Hit the like button, people. Thank you, Luke, very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
They said you're in the postcode war, Terry. I shouldn't even be laughing about that.
The postcode war.
Someone said you're in a postcode war.
What's that with United stand?
Yeah, because United stand. Yeah.
Oh, right. I'll get what you. Yeah. Do you know what it is? Like, I always say this. Like, some people that make YouTube videos, not so much the content creators. A lot of people that watch it try and act like they're tough, and I always just think, everyone I know that I grew up around that was a little bit special in that way, they just wouldn't have been sitting there with a camera making sure the aperture is right, talking on the internet. That's just not what people like that do. That's what I'm saying. Like it's no postcode wars, but I know you're joking, right? Big G's joking, but some people really do think like it's like they think it's serious. Like you might get. Someone says to me, "You worry about what people might do to you." I was like, "What do you mean? It's YouTube. It's
bro,
not
most of these trolls come up to you, they'll laugh and they'll talk to you normal.
But generally, some guy, he wasn't even like being funny. He said, "Are you worried that you might get like genuine beef of this?" Well, what do you mean by genuine beef? He went, "What if you're out and someone like attacks you over it?" I said, "No one." I said, "This is not that serious. It's weird. It's not like platforms are like football hooligans. If our platforms are run by the old-fashioned football hooligans, then fair enough, right?" Some people just they honestly like
you have to be
bloods.
proper you have to be like a proper weirdo, mentally maladjusted.
Bro, they don't be doing nothing, bro. I told you that. All these Arsenal fans that be on my neck every time. I went to 2 Arsenal games against United. No one says anything to me. If anything, they ask me for pictures. They ask me for pictures. That's what they do. And I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna be at MetLife again this summer. United versus West Ham. I promise you. That day I'm gonna go, and no one's gonna do anything again. They're just gonna be nice. Only the normal people are there.
No, mate. Listen, I've even given my work address out where my studio is to 4 or 5 people that have really given it the big one. I gave the address. No one ever turned up. No one's ever gonna turn up. No one's gonna turn up. Nothing.
Like beef the West Ham fans though. Lawless.
Yeah, trust me. They're coming for you.
Decay here says, but Terry, you do back Ineos. Listen, I'm going to stop at the beginning of that. There are elements that I back, and there's elements that I've said I'm going to give it time before I judge it. But I've also heavily criticized multiple areas. The hypothetical I gave, Decay, was I backed them 100%. If you watch everything we do, you're always in this live chat, and I respect and love that. However, you therefore should know that I've not backed every decision they've made 100%. What I have said on the terrace and on the United stand is I will understand the rationale of the criticism. I've also criticized areas, but I am not making overarching statements or conclusions until much further along down the line. Just in the same way Don said earlier, like, yes, I don't like the idea of only signing kids, but before you completely condemn the club, call the owners pejoratives, lose your mind, show your bum crack on camera. Maybe wait and see what happens in reality before you do that. That's the difference, my friend. That is a difference. You always ask for a solution when challenged by super chats, but in a debate with Mark, you shrink and never challenge for solutions. This isn't true, though, is it? To say that I haven't, me and Mark have done a few shows together. The first show we did, the first comment he asked is, Terry, do you think United need a new striker? Because Mark's been saying for a while he thinks creativity is more important than a striker. So what's the first thing I said? I didn't go, oh, yes, Mark. No, Mark. 3 bags full, Mark. I said, no, I think a striker initially was really, really important. Because although I said it doesn't fix us, I said if we were scoring more goals at the moment, if Gyökeres was in our team, I think we'd have won more points, would have lost less games, and the pressure would not have been heightened in the way in which it was. So that is a challenge. That is a challenge to what he has said. And we didn't get into a heated debate because Mark just said, I disagree. I think creativity is more important, but I get where you're coming from. And half the time these debates happen where I push back and go, well, give me a solution. It's when people give a very polarized statement, which is you are wrong. This is right. I'm asking, well, what's your, if you're stating what I said holds no water, is illogical, makes no sense, then what I need is a bit more of a solution from you. If you're saying, I think my solution is better, but I see how yours could work, it's a very different, the nature of that conversation is very, very different, my friend. But I do love the super chat. I love the challenge like you've just given there. And hopefully what I've just done is not shrink and given it. But Mark and I would say as well, Mark and I haven't had overly too many disagreements. We have on Ineos, and we had that conversation. Go back and watch a video on the United stand about 2.5-3 weeks ago when the stadium was announced. Very different views. The difference was he wasn't fighting against anything I said, and I understood where he was coming from, and we just accept that. You know, not every conversation has to be two people fighting with each other to try and prove they're right. Because another thing I've learned in this space in the last couple of years really is me and Don can see the world different. We could shout at each other for 2 hours on stream. I ain't changing his mind and he ain't changing mine. Why repeat the same argument 10 times on because that's what happens on a lot of these channels. It's go and watch some of these like pony channels out there. Like they have the same debate for an hour on stream, just shouting at each other, saying the same thing over and over again. And the Terrace used to do that a lot. And I'm trying to stop that a little bit, to be fair with you. So yeah, but great super chat. Thank you very much indeed, brother. I really do appreciate it. So I read a funny comment. Moving on from we'll finish the Man United super chat here. It says problem with no, sorry, that's already come out. Sorry, I did do that super chat already. Chelsea today. The story, if people haven't seen it, I can put up on the screen here actually. It came out today, and it says that the head coach Enzo Maresca cancelled a scheduled day off for senior players this week after they were beaten 3-0 by the club's under-21 team in a training exercise. It says Maresca made the decision after being disappointed with what he had seen during the drills. It wasn't a full 90-minute game, to be fair, but the first team and academy players were there, and the less experienced group came out on top with a 19-year-old McNeely scoring 2 goals. So, fuming manager, cancelled days off, slammed that performance. You've seen as well as I have done Chelsea fans online losing their heads over this. What do you personally make of it?
I saw spaces earlier regarding this, but I couldn't believe it.
You told us you have a better squad, and now you don't even have a better squad than the under 21.
What do I make of it, bro? I think it's funny. I'll be honest with you, bro. Honestly,
at least your future is secured. You know you have a good under 21 team. Congrats,
bro. I think it's a joke, innit? I think it's a fucking disgrace to be losing, you know, to the kids in training. I don't know if these guys were just kind of, I don't know. I wasn't there, innit? I don't know if they were playing at walking pace and they just kind of undermined what these guys could do to them. But bro, it's embarrassing, innit? Let's be honest with you. You ain't gonna want to be losing to 16-year-olds and guys that are playing for the 21s, and you're getting what 50K a week minimum, bro. You know what I'm saying? But end of the day, bro, the main thing for me is to make sure that these guys turned up the next day. They didn't have a day off, and they went again, because we've got a big game next week against Spurs at the Bridge, and we need to get back to winning ways, bro. Right? We've got everyone back now. Jackson's back, Lavia's back. You know, Palmer and Madueke, they were spotted in training today. So I need to be seeing Chelsea playing how we were at the start of the season. You know what I'm saying? And then all of this.
Hang on, sorry. Is that an ice cream van?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Waste no time around here, mate.
The sun's out.
Yeah, that's sick.
You know what I'm saying, Terry? So, bro, if we come, if we play well against Spurs next week, yeah, because like the past few performances haven't been great. We see how much Jackson's been a miss. I know when he was there, he wasn't finishing chances, but we played better with this guy. We played better with the likes of Palmer. So with a fully fit squad, bro, we should be able to play how we was start of the season. Even for I forgot about Fofana as well. He's back as well. So we win that game against Spurs, you know, and it's convincing. You listen, these stories about training losses and that, no one's gonna be going back and forth about it. That's what we need to do. We just need to make sure that we win. But obviously, there's people that hate Maresca, people that hate the owners, so they're gonna be doing think pieces about today. But to me, I saw it. I was like, oh, that's fucking embarrassing, and just kind of moved on and said, yeah, the real stuff is next week, bro. That's what I really care about. I'll be honest.
I'm just glad you guys are still in your Berta era. I'll be honest. It's news like this that just makes me feel like, all right, I'm not alone here. Like we still got some company, you know.
Staffy, you know, it is. We see one thing about my club, bro. It's like keeping up with the Kardashians, bro. There's just always something. Every international break, there's always something. So when I see these things now these days, I'm honestly, I'm not surprised. It doesn't surprise me, bro. This club is just, there's always something going on at Chelsea, bro. Honestly.
Now, I want to hear Lawless speak about this because there's no way Lawless is not gonna like take it. This is your chance to say something about Chelsea, and there's no way you're gonna ignore it. I want to hear it.
Listen, no, I just think it's hilarious. Obviously, Don's gonna say, right, we'll go back. Oh, you're lucky you've played Spurs. You're lucky it's Spurs you've got, because I'd be very worried for Chelsea. I know you said you've got XYZ player back. I'm glad they're back because the excuses stop here now. You've made a lot of excuses about you're missing this player, missing that player. That all stops. Yeah, I think it's just.
Let's touch upon that. I don't like this phrase that people. Like
hang on. Let Lawless finish his point, then we'll go on to the excuses. We'll come back to the excuses. Sorry.
Yeah, and I will get on to that because I know where you're gonna go, Don. But yeah, it speaks to a shockingly poor mentality, I think, that we see in that Chelsea team. I don't see any real leadership in that team. And I think that's a real problem. And in terms of excuses, when you put your team out there as having the best squad or one of the best squads in the league, injuries should impact you less than other teams because you have such a good squad. When you lose one player, you have another quality player to step in, right? So the fact that you guys fell off a cliff after a few injuries, which I compared to some other clubs, it hasn't been as bad. I think that exposes how weak your squad is, really and truly, Don. And the fact that you have to have all these pieces back, all these players back to not fall off a cliff. Because let's say if your form, say you'd lost them players earlier, Don, you'd be nowhere near top four. So it speaks to the fact that you haven't got this.
That goes for most clubs, bro. If most clubs are missing their main players, they're gonna fall off as well.
Yeah, but most clubs don't have a good squad like you, Don. Most clubs don't have as good a squad as Chelsea. So when your squad out there.
On the excuses thing, I get you've lost a lot of players. Where I think the excuses bit comes from, and I want to throw this to Lawless to clarify what I think he means before I go to you, Don. This run where you've only beaten teams that are below you in the form table, sort of Ipswich and the Southamptons and a couple of Wolves.
Yeah, we haven't beat Ipswich. We've got them.
Not Ipswich. You beat Leicester in the last. Yeah, since the middle of December, you beat Southampton and Leicester, Wolves and West Ham, and in the last 14 games, they're all below you in the form table. Quite a lot of the matches at the beginning of that 14-game run, about at least 5 or 6 of them, the likes of Jackson, etc., were fit and available. So what a lot of people are saying is that the bad run didn't start when they got injured. The bad run started with them. So I suppose what people are saying is, and hopefully Lords can clarify, that the excuses stop now because those players are now coming back. Yeah. So surely you have to start winning now if them being missing was the problem.
No, of course, bro. And I've never once said, even last season, I kept telling you, Terry, right? Even with the injuries that we had, we still had enough to be winning more games. So I'm with Lawless on this one, bro. Like, even though it was missing Fofana and these guys, yes, we played better with them. That's not a debate for me. But we still had enough to be winning more games, right? During that period, Maresca wasn't really using the squad. You know, you still had guys like Jackson missing consistently. But the point that I'm making now is that the best Chelsea I've seen under Maresca has been when he's got Lavia fit, has been when he's got Fofana fit, Palmer fit, and all of these guys, because they help us counter press, right? Fofana helps us play a high line. Lavia helps us defensively. So when I'm looking at these guys coming back, I'm like, okay, cool. We should now see the best version of Chelsea. Because when they're not there, yes, we have some good games. We can still win. But for me, you're not going to see the best of us without these guys in it. That's how I kind of look at things.
Well,
you know,
this is it, Don. I think it just speaks to the fragility of your squad, right, and how shallow it is. Because we're not saying about, you know what, yeah, you should have been, you know, turning over, flipping Arsenal and Liverpool. Like, you lost against Ipswich away. You know, you drop points against Everton. Like, there's so many teams there that you can't say like, oh, you can't expect us to win this game because we had injuries. No, you've spent, and I know this gets brought up a lot, but you spent £1 billion on your squad. You and Maresca should be expected to coach a team that can beat these. I don't think
I've heard any Chelsea fans say we lost those games because of injuries, bro. Like I was cooking Maresca at that point, right? I was cooking this guy. I was cooking Jackson. I was cooking Bearman during that period. You know what I mean? So again, for me, injuries ain't it's not the reason why we've been losing, but it's a factor as to why we've slightly dropped off in terms of the best Chelsea and the Chelsea that you will see in after that period. That's all I'm saying.
So do you expect to see, like with these players back, do you expect to see that Chelsea that we saw that was challenging for the league?
Bro, I hope so. You know, I hope so. I hope that's what I'm saying. I need a performance against Spurs, because when the players play well and the fans at the bridge can see the players are playing well, they're going to make more noise, right? It's going to be
if you lose to Spurs, sack Maresca. Just sack him.
If we lose to Spurs, he needs security to leave the area. He's going to need security to leave the area because people want him out anyway. He needs to make sure he wins that game. Yeah. Spurs right now are on worse form than us. Even though we've been on terrible form, they've actually picked up, I think, 3 less points than us in our past 11 games or something like that, right? We need to wipe the floor with these guys and get back to winning ways and get more confidence into the team. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping Lawless, innit? He's got all his little pieces back. So again, I don't want to be making excuses for this guy or saying, oh, we need this guy back, we need that guy back. No, you've got these guys back now. So make sure you go on a run, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing that Enzo can hide behind. Yeah.
He can't hide behind. Exactly. That's exactly it. You can't hide behind anything.
Is it at the bridge?
It's at the bridge, yeah. And Tower's right when he says this as well. When Fofana and Lavia got injured, bro, again, we didn't lose those games because of these guys, but that's legit when that run started. That run, bro, you know, defensively, we're better. It's a fact that we're better with these two guys. You know what I'm saying?
Do you expect to see more out of Palmer now these players are back? Do you think that's had an impact on Palmer, or do you think it's just Palmer in isolation is playing poor?
Bro, it's hard to say, man, because even when we had Jackson available, Palmer was still making the wrong decision in so many situations. Palmer still wasn't being clinical, right? So again, it's just one of them ones where I need Jackson to bag to get over this drought. If he doesn't score against Spurs, that'll be 10 games now, I think it is, Lawless, without bagging. You know, Palmer's been blanking for weeks, right? I know he's got GA, but 4 of his goals came up against Brighton. You know what I'm saying? There's been so many games this season, including the big games, where he's not been good. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of these players just need that one goal to go in, that one chance to be created, and it goes in. Then all of a sudden, you see Chelsea start to click again. Because confidence is a thing that people like to ignore in football, bro. A lot of these players right now aren't feeling confident. A lot of Chelsea players right now, bro, are hiding their comments on Insta because they're getting chefed. You know what I'm saying? They're getting cooked online by people, right? And I can see it on the pitch with a lot of these guys. So I need players to start taking risks. We have not got enough risk takers in this team. Yeah, Sancho too safe, Neto too safe, right? Jackson takes risks, to be fair, right? Whether you guys like it or not, Mudryk used to take risks as well, blood. You know what I mean? So boy, we need to make sure that we get back to winning ways, man.
Speaking of Sancho, are we talking about that today? The Sancho story that's coming out.
Talk about it last week.
No, Will, there was an update in it. Potts put it in the chat.
25 mil.
About like you're activating. Well, you said it was fake news. Potts put out a story saying that Chelsea are going to activate the 25 mil. You're saying that he's basically on a trial period from another source, right? So what you're saying is it's not confirmed that at this time Chelsea ain't activating it unless he improves. Man United's perspective feel like you're activating it regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. United hope that he picks up his form again, like how he was at the start of the season, because they don't want that problem again, bro. That's going to be long for them again. We send him back. Cool, you've got your 5 million, but they would rather get rid of him. They'd rather the 25 million. You know what I mean? Right?
So what about this thought that you're going to pay 25 mil to resell him straight away? Like you're just going to sign him?
Man.
No, I don't think it is necessarily, right? I'll tell you as to why. Because his team, I think Chelsea have been smart. And that's why I didn't overreact last week. And it's why I laughed at Chelsea fans that showed their bum. Got their bum out. Went, woo, there's my bum crack. Yeah, he ain't that good anyway, or whatever. Or panicking over it. Because his team are looking at other options. Because Chelsea have put out they might not renew. So Sancho's team have to start talking to other clubs. Now, if it comes out that Dortmund would be willing to pay 30 million, 35 million, well, Man United will be rubbing their hands together if Chelsea don't act, because we could get 5 million from you and then 30 million from Dortmund. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to get 35 million from Dortmund, as an example, Chelsea would be stupid not to pay the 25 million, then sell him on for 10 million profit. I don't think it's.
Can you even do that though? Like, can you buy a player in the summer and then sell them literally that same summer?
Of course you can.
I've never seen that happen before. Though. Is there any examples of that?
Of course, yeah, but you can. The point is, you can do it. Like, I think I don't think Chelsea want him. My gut feeling is Chelsea don't think he's good enough. But Chelsea are weighing this up, and this is what's going to happen. If, for instance, Dortmund though go, look, we ain't paying no more than 20 million. Then I don't think you will sign him. I think you'll let Man United have him back. I think if there's clubs out there willing to pay more for him, then you will. But I don't think Chelsea want anything to do with Jadon Sancho whatsoever.
I think, honestly, Terry, what it is for me, yeah, it could be a little bit of a kick in the backside, like, yo, bro, you need to pattern up, right? If Sancho doesn't improve in terms of his output, in terms of, effectiveness on the pitch, like what we were seeing at the beginning, then I think we'll send him back. But if you see him, he's getting more assists for Jackson and that, you see him maybe even scoring more goals, taking more shots on goal. I think we'll take the opportunity on him, innit?
Maybe if he does. Do you think he's gonna do that though? What's your gut telling you? Do you think he's gonna step up and start scoring, creating, impacting games, taking people on?
Bro, it all depends on how the team overall starts to play. I saw the best Sancho when the whole team was playing well, right? Sancho's not that guy to depend on when everyone else is falling, when everyone else is dying, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Someone you want?
He's usually as good as his team
is. Spend 25 mil on him.
Bro, listen, again, I'm the thing is, I'm actually so calm with Sancho as a squad player. I think he can help in so many situations. And when I'm looking at the market, it's like, okay, cool. If you get rid of him, I'm not losing sleep. But we're gonna need two wingers if you get rid of him, because Mudryk looks like
this is based on Don you thinking that he's gonna take a wage cut when you sign him. That's what you think.
He's already taken a wage cut to come Chelsea, bro. He took a massive.
No, but he's not taking a wage cut because Man United are paying a portion of the wages, aren't they?
No, so but, Man United pay. Yeah, but we ain't gonna pay him those wages. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying. So he has to take, right? So what was his wages at Man United, real quick, Terry?
250.
250.
So he is getting 250. He's not getting 250 from Chelsea. He's getting part of that from Chelsea, part of that from Man United. If he comes to Chelsea, you're saying he will accept less than 250. So that's a wage cut. His wages ain't cut.
But that's already been agreed, though. That's already been agreed because it has to be for there to be an obligation to buy in. There can't be an obligation to buy if the player hasn't agreed future terms. I don't believe, because then
him and Felix took a big wage.
I think it's already done. I think Sancho. I don't think it's gonna. I think he'll probably end up on like 150 a week at Chelsea, something like that. It won't be a drag.
I think he'll get about 130, 150 a week or something. You know what I mean? But again, I think he can be used.
It's a lot for a bench player that you're having a bench player.
25. Okay, all right, Lawless. Let me ask you then, bro. Yeah, we get rid of Sancho right now. We need two wingers, by the way, because again, we need to replace Mudryk. So who can we bring in right now around that sort of salary? Sorry, around that sort of amount. That's going to be happy to sit on the bench, basically. Who can we bring in right now?
Go out there, Don. Go out there and do your scouting. There's players in
I'm asking you.
No, but what? Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not a professional scout. My mate don't give me a free Y Scout account like you, yeah? So I'm just telling you.
Don't do that. Nah, bro. The reason why I'm asking you this, right, is because when I look in the market, that you just proven my point. Sancho is someone who's actually is experienced, like I've said, right? He's durable. He barely ever gets injured. And if you're not dependent on the guy, you bring him on against tired legs. You start him against certain teams. I don't mind that, bro.
I look at it this way, though. For 25 million, you're not going to get someone as good as Sancho. As talented as Sancho, I agree. But you need better than that. You should. I think you should be. You look at they're saying 70 million for Semenyo. That's because you need someone of that level. Like 60 million gets you Garnacho. And many Chelsea fans will say, well, he isn't good enough to raise that ceiling, that floor. That's the issue here with this business. The issue is literally that the floor isn't being raised, the ceiling isn't being lifted high enough.
Yeah,
with Sancho coming in.
That's why I'm saying, even if we do sign him permanently, we still need another winger. I've been telling you lot for time we need another winger, bro. And there's someone that we're gonna get to most likely start ahead of him. Someone that's a different profile to a Sancho. Right? I keep telling you, Sancho's not a direct winger like that.
I'm looking at these are Premier League wingers that play on the left that are rated 25 million or less. Let's see how many we think would be better than Sancho. Alex Iwobi.
Yeah, I think he'd be better.
Okay. Yeah. Callum Hudson-Odoi.
I wouldn't take him though. I wouldn't take him.
Okay. Yeah. This Lewis Potter from Brentford.
Don't know who he is.
Okay. Somerville's valued at 22 million.
Somerville I'll take him as a squad option.
Somerville. You've got Sinistera.
What team is that again?
Mil. He's at Brentford. Sorry, Bournemouth. 17 million he's valued at.
I haven't. Is that the black guy, isn't it?
He used to be at Leeds.
Yeah.
I think he's Colombian.
I haven't really seen enough of him. Somerville sounds good.
What about Dwight McNeil at Everton? I think he'd be better.
Dwight McNeil. Do you know there's a name on here? I didn't realize he's valued only at 13 million, 23 years of age. You're going to get relegated. But Sulemana, I've seen him cook people this season. Yeah. Again, he's there. But I'm saying, so these are the players for that kind of level that you're sort of looking at. Timo Werner's valued at 10 million. Take a punt on him. Hang on. Let's not say Chelsea won't do it. You spent 50 million this summer on a previous flop in Felix. So you've done it before. You might do it again.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I think Suleiman is. I haven't watched enough of him, but again, I like how direct he is. Somerville, to be fair, I would take him as a squad player. In all honesty, but again, you look at the names that you're saying there, Terry. You know, it's not as easy as what people think.
Yeah, you'll get for that value. You're getting a lot more than the value is. The problem is. It's it's the impact. And if he has another season, Sancho, this next year, like this year, I don't think you get to that point where the money doesn't become, it's not a massive risk, which is fair, but it just becomes a case of, well, is he going to raise that floor? Is he good enough to push the left midfielder ahead of him further? I think one thing that, I think it was Scholes that said it, that I did agree with about Palmer. It's so easy for Palmer to get into your team. There is no real competition for him. And that type of standard always creates mediocrity in the end. You look at most clubs like that. It's like, who's pushing you? Who's making you work hard to stay in the team? Like your club, Palmer's in the worst form since he's been with you, but there is literally no real better options. And that's something I think you guys need to look at. But
yeah, and the thing is, like, people, for me, like, you know, there's so many things here that the club haven't done, bro. Like, we're yet to see Sancho over striker. We're yet to see Neto over a striker, Medwaki. All of these guys, bro, you know, and for me, I think Sancho can only work if you're overlapping Cucurella, and that's what we were doing at the start of the season.
I hear that. Talking about Arsenal, I wanted to get your guys' take. Obviously, the news today that Berta has signed his deal. He signed it 20 days ago, and he's going to be coming in. What type of? A lot of us have been very. I know I have, and I'm sure I remember you guys doing this. We've all been very critical of Edu. We've all been very critical of Arsenal's summer and their January transfer window. Bringing somebody in as experienced with the CV of an Andrea Berta, what type of impact do you guys think he's going to have at Arsenal, and how big a deal is this for them?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if the power structure changes with Arteta, because it's been reported how much power he does have at the club and how much of a say he does have over transfers. So is that going to continue, or is Berta just taking over completely, and then Arteta is going to be more of a head coach role? That's what I want to see. But it's always, I think, much better to have someone like that who's experienced, who knows what they're doing in the role, who's serious, who's got a good track record, who can get deals over the line. Like, there's only a positive. They just need to iron out how that relationship works, because we've seen firsthand how that can break down with the manager and the director of football. We see it under two managers with us and Tim Steidson. So, yeah, man, I'm going to be interested to see how that develops. But it can be a positive. But at the end of the day, as well, you've still got the Cronkies. Obviously, still going to have to release the money and do what needs to be done and all of that business.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%, bro. Like it's going to be interesting, man. Especially if Arteta doesn't achieve much next season. Obviously, it's hard to like look that far ahead because we don't know what business they're going to do. But is this going to be a guy that's going to, get rid of this guy? I think he might be, bro. He's got way more clout than Arteta, way more experience than Arteta. So that'll be quite interesting to see, man. That power dynamic. I think that's one of the reasons why Edu decided to leave, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. That's going to be the interesting thing is that because people are. I know what someone said, like he's not going to come in if he has no say. I'm not going to say he's not going to have any say, but sometimes, like they say, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's a clash of ideas. Berta thinks that this player should be signed. Arteta wants a different player. What are you going to do?
I've just seen some Arsenal news that's come out. Oh, this is
the dating.
Hang on, hang on. Yeah, the Arteta outers, the standard guys. They're gonna be fuming. Arsenal will launch a new program called The Big Match. They are calling on their single supporters in the UK to apply to be part of the production, which will involve attending a blind date with a fellow Gooner at an Arsenal game.
Oh my God. This club, man. This fucking club.
The thing is, right? The advertising, it's like smoke with a heart. Do you know what, right? Part of me really hopes they win. Do you know why? Because I think a lot of the things they've done PR-wise are brilliant. The problem is I feel like they need to win
to justify it.
To justify it. Where, for instance, if City launched this, I don't think people would care. If Real Madrid bought a dog called Win and all the things they've done to try and create better harmony, like the anthem before the stadium, I understand everything Arsenal are doing. The problem is it gets cooked if you're not successful.
Because they're doing everything but winning. I get you. I actually agree with you. You're going on a date to see the champions. Like, I'm on a blind date, but I get to see I get to see a game of the champions. Oh my God, I can't wait to go. But then no, when you're going to the Emirates, you're not seeing the champions. It's awesome. They don't win
right?
shit.
D Shadow says, "Come on, Terry. All clubs do stuff like this." I'm not saying Arsenal are alone in this. I'm not. I'm literally saying
every club, every. What? Let's be real. He's saying every club does this.
No. Stop, Lawler. Stop. This is where I want the Football Terrace to be a little different. Let's not be polarized. Not everyone does the dating thing, but most clubs, if not all clubs, do something that outsiders would go, that's fucking cringe, mate. Like some people would say the day you started blowing bubbles around your stadium was weird, bruv. Some people go, why would you? I know you're sorry they don't blowing bubbles, but outsiders would go, why you have got a bubble machine? Kids have that in the garden. Some people would look at that as an example.
But things like this, we call out. If I see my club do something that's a bit cringe on social media, PR-wise,
I understand that. I understand it, right? I understand.
Don't go, every club does it. This is perfectly normal.
No, I understand. And if you, again, just slow down a second and talk. I get it, right? For instance, I've seen this guy, he goes to different stadiums around the country experiencing them. And like at Leighton Orient, my brother's club, they do this thing where you get to sit by one of the corner flags in like a dugout. It's sponsored by Domino's Pizza, really good view. And at halftime, like a delivery driver on a moped arrives in the stadium and drives across the pitch and brings you a pizza. And everyone, it's cringe, right? I don't think I'd like to see Man United do it, but it's something that people pay quite a lot of money for the experience of. And the reason why I think this is important is so many of the things that Arsenal are doing, they won't say this to their fans because they don't want it to it's all about generating more money. The more money you get, the more you should be spending on players and on salary and everything else. And that's why I think I agree with Staffy. They need to win something big so that even if you don't like it and go, that's cringe, it's not for me, at least there's a means to an end, if that makes sense. And on the cringe stuff, I don't like a lot of this. I wouldn't partake if I was single or not. I wouldn't partake if Man United were doing it. I wouldn't do the thing with the pizza. There's another club in England that has jacuzzis now on all of its corner flags, so you can sit in a jacuzzi or a hot tub watching games. Like, again, I wouldn't do that type of thing. But you also know, though, there are a lot of football fans, and there's a lot of our international football fans who don't see the appeal to do what I like doing on a football day, which is I meet my mates in the morning, we have breakfast together, and then we go to a pub, we get blind drunk, sing songs, and get pissed. There are some people, Lawless, and you'll know that being a West Ham fan, that is a football day. There are hundreds of thousands and millions of football fans that think that is bullshit and stupid and cringe and pathetic. And I don't
think that's the case, Terry. Mate.
I tell you how now it's the case, because 100%. No, mate, I disagree with you. I see it in comment sections. Oh, the piss fans, the drunks, the da-da-da. There are people that don't look at that as an experience. So getting to at Man United, there are some games where the fan base says, let's get to the ground early and get the atmosphere up. But when I was going regularly, I used to drink in Sam Platts, and it was almost custom. No one left. None of the what you would call like they would say they were proper fans. The top Reds, they'd probably get nicknamed today. You didn't leave the pub until 4 or 5 minutes before kickoff, and you were rushing to get into your seat beforehand. If you were in there and you sort of like, I'm leaving, and someone said, oh, where are you off to? I'm going to the game, and it's 2:30, kickoff at 3. You get kind of like jeered as being a tourist, as an example. So my point is, though, that some people don't view it that way. Some people look at it and that's what I find with football now. And they're adding, and again, I'm not agreeing with them doing this. I'm just pointing out that the people that like the different experiences at football now, some people like to go to the mega store and go to the museum and walk through the Munich tunnel on a match day. But sort of Reds that have been going 30 years, they respect the Munich tunnel, they respect the museum, they respect the mega store and everything, but they don't participate in that as a match going experience. That isn't a match day for them. But I think we're just in a stage now where football is, right or wrong, where there are multiple types of people that go to games. And for some people, that sort of social element is going to the pub. For others, it might be like, this could be a great bit of fun. Going on a blind date, I get to watch my team play football. And if you're you might go, I might even get a little bit of nookie. Like, I can understand why this is appealing to some men.
The argument that you're making, you can defend them doing anything. You could that argument of, oh, well, some people will like this and some people, you could defend any ridiculous thing. And just because, like you said, there is a means to an end and PR and things like that. But when you're doing something that is so just ridiculous and away from football, like the blind date thing, even blind dates in themselves are fucking stupid anyway, because you don't know what you're walking into. Let's just be honest.
See, that's where I see it differently to you. Is I see, again, I wouldn't do it when I'm going to football. And do you know what it is? I'm thinking more about it. It's not because it's on my club's doing it and it's cringe. It's because I go to football purely to watch football. Does that make sense? I have a beer with my mates, but I'm not going to the football. So if I went on a first date with a woman, I wouldn't go to the cinema because you can't talk because you're in the cinema, right? Yeah. If I go to football, I'm not sitting there talking to a young lady I'm with. I'm watching the football. I'm singing. I'm having a drink. So for me, that's why I wouldn't do it. But I understand why.
Therefore, it's stupid, then, isn't it? Because
but not everyone. No. But you're being subjective. Some people aren't like that. Some people, I again, forget being on a blind date. Some of the lads I used to go football with, they didn't watch the game. They used to spend the whole time in the Stretford end. Hear me out. The whole time in the Stretford end, facing the other way, being like an orchestrator to getting the crowd up. They didn't watch the game forensically. So again, my point is, not everybody goes to football for the exact same reason.
When you're marketing something, Terry, you want to market to a large audience, right? You can say some people will have a date and they'll sit there and not watch the football and go, oh, so what's your favorite film? Oh, it's
what are they doing? I think I missed the bit when you said it, Terry. What are they doing?
So they're doing, it's a blind date. So you go to watch the game, but you're on a blind date while you're there. But this is what I think Arsenal are going to do. I haven't read the full thing. If Arsenal are smart, they're going to film it. But this is where Arsenal fans may watch it. The idea will be they're going to, because these reality shows are popular. Do you know how many
people? Get Cilla Black back from the dead. Bring her back. Cilla Black, get her to fucking host.
But this is why, listen, this is why I'm saying it's a money-making scheme. And that's why I'm not against it, because it's a business idea. Do you know how popular things like Love at First Sight are and stuff?
Yeah.
So I know people.
The point is, if you could get, right, the idea is there are millions of Arsenal fans who will also like reality TV like that, because there's going to be that crossover, the same as all fan bases. If Arsenal could get 50,000 fans to sign up to their TV channel just to watch this program, that's lucrative. I don't blame them for making money. The point is, and I think Staffy said it right at the beginning, they got to win something to justify all of this, is what I'm saying.
Could you imagine though, right? Put yourself in the woman's position. This could work if you're a bloke, yeah. You get hooked up to some guy.
We're having a conversation about this. Only
AJ, you're
Bro,
wrong.
Temptation Island in the Emirates. That's gonna be crazy.
You get a poor woman gets matched up with this bloke, yeah. He's all sweaty. He's got bad beard. There's patches on his Arsenal shirt. All of this stuff, and they're sitting together. You're stuck with this geezer for over 90 minutes.
See, but now what you've just done, though, see, Lawless, you have just sold the program. You've just sold the program, because for a lot of us, I don't really watch a lot of reality TV anymore. The problem with reality TV is if you sit and watch it for 5 minutes, you're there for an hour, you're there for 2. It gets you hooked, right? And that's but yeah, Matt, that would, again, we'd all tune in. Say there was a trailer and it was this woman who looks like, I don't know, Maya Jama, and she ends up having to sit with Matt from the Football Terrace for like 3 hours. We are all going to watch it. And this is where Arsenal are trying.
I know, but poor Maya Jama lookalike. What about her? What about her feelings?
But Arsenal don't care, because it will be compelling viewing and hilarious and cringe. And Arsenal are doing it to make people pay money to watch it, I would assume, right? And that is all I'm saying here. All of these things they have done, from dogs, the anthem, all of it, whether people like it or not, is a way of trying to get a feel-good factor at the club to make the fans spend more money. That's all it's about. Let's be blunt.
I know you're taking the piss. You're saying dogs. I know you're taking the piss.
No.
Again, as I say, I am on the side of the fans, like on a subjective level. I'm with the fans that say cut this bullshit and go, no, let's just stick to the football. But if I'm being objective and I'm looking at this from a commercial angle, I get why clubs, right down from the delivery driver at halftime, the jacuzzis, the blind dates, the stadium tours, the skywalks, Man United are going to do some mad stuff with this new stadium. I get why they do it, because their aim is to try and increase the revenues as much as they can. The only time I'd have a real issue with it is if the clubs wouldn't spend. What I would say to the Gooners that hate all their PR is you're also the same people that say, and generating the money, that say we've spent 750 million and not won enough. Well, part of the reason you've been able to spend so much money that you actually complain you think's been wasted is because you're generating the income this way. So, I just think that fans have to understand why these things are being done. Some also will think, and I understand this train of thought, they're doing it to distract from not winning anything. I just disagree. I think they're doing it to try and raise more money. The Bachelor, but with Wembley knockouts, and the winner goes on a date. Can you imagine? That's KJ writing that.
I know he's married, but imagine Igao being on that. That would be amazing. Like, I would tune in just to watch Igao.
Do you know who I'd like to watch? Again, I mean this with respect because he's married. I'm just meaning from the dynamic of them as people, right? Someone. No, actually, they're both singles. That's better. Matt and that Bella, that OnlyFans Arsenal fan Bella.
I was thinking of that too.
Like them two together on a date, just because obviously I don't think Matt's ever kissed a woman. It would just be hilarious. If we see the trailer for that, and Arsenal Football Club say you all have to go on their website and pay $5.99 to watch it, we are all paying to watch it. Because it's compelling, and that's what.
Listen, I do a live reaction to it.
It would happen
today. What is going on?
I know. The Athletic, in fact, reported that Arteta wanted him. Yeah, look, you got to look at it this way, D. I think there's on Berta very quickly. I think you got to look at it. Him wanting him to be kind of his boss or co-equal is one thing, over actually hiring him. So I've been in jobs where I know I've got a new boss coming in, but I wanted that person to come in because I know how good they are. So I'd have to read. Send me a link. I have to read, because you got to be very careful with the wording of that. What Arsenal are doing is called fan engagement. That's also true. It is about keeping fans engaged, and they also understand Arsenal, and they're clever with it, whether we like it or not. That not all fans see football as meet mates, have a pint, get drunk, watch football, go home, don't talk about it. There are different types of fans with different interests, and they're merging them together. And from a financial standpoint, I do get it. It's not doesn't mean I agree.
Every way
I get
of
it.
doing it is a good way. You can't just say because they're doing it, it makes sense and it's good. There is bad marketing, there's bad PR, and it happens all the time.
No, I'm not disagreeing. If the show's crap or it lands bad or bad thing, two people go on a blind date and then the man assaults the woman in the evening, it's fucking going to go down terribly, right? So I get your point, but at the same time, imagine they end up making a really good quality reality TV show that blows up and starts making money. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. Like I'm open-minded.
Why don't we all just start game shows? Why don't we start a bloody? Actually, David Sullivan did do a film.
But MUTV. I had
You walked straight into that one. You walked straight into that one.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I had MUTV for over 20 years, and MUTV does all types of shows. Documentaries, game shows, quiz nights, and that was to get Man United fans to buy the subscription that made them money. So this isn't new directly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a fresh idea. It's just an adaptation of what things that already existed.
Why don't we just do porn with bloody football fans, right? And with Arsenal fans.
See, that's
if anything's fine, Terry. If anything's good,
you just compared games to porn.
No, because Terry is essentially
where did I say everything was okay? And why would you take it to that extreme? Come on. It's like it's like if I say to you, come to my house, make yourself at home. I don't expect you to knock a fucking room through. Do you know? I don't literally mean it's your home. It's a figure of speech. Come on, my old mate. Each of you, what's your personal all-time 11? I haven't got time to go through this with everybody. I'm sorry, we'll throw this to Don. What's your personal all-time best 11?
Mudryk.
Best time all 11. What Chelsea? Or like clubs?
Personal.
Your personal all-time 11.
All time.
This is such a big question, man. You need time.
Yeah,
man. You need time to think
these questions.
I need time to think about that, man.
Joshua Jack, we'll answer it for you next week because I've got to go pick up one of my kids in a moment. TBR Football understand that Crystal Palace have made it clear that Adam Wharton's 100 million. Fuck off. Just fuck off. It's just ridiculous.
Everyone's 100 million now, bro. Back to the academy we go.
Terry is right. Business idea that make money is there. It's also a scheme to create more Arsenal babies. Yeah, it's true. It's very funny. I like it. West Ham can do a show called Blind Buying Dildos.
Yeah, listen, we own enough of them, I imagine.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. Saka prop from Don. Hella's frozen over. Did you?
Yeah, listen, I spoke about Saka earlier. These people think I just hate the guy, but I've got a guy called Zarman in the chat. That's saying apparently I've been saying that Palmer's been better this season when I've literally been cooking Palmer most of the season and saying Saka's been performing. So I don't get these lies, bro. Now apparently he's gonna be filming me every single time now to try clip me up.
Look, ceased and desist, Terry. What is this? What is this? Some of you write some weird stuff in the comment. Sometimes
I did, man. Just stick to football, man. What's going on here? You guys
don't mess with him. He's got a black belt. He's got a black belt, Terry. Black belt you up, mate.
Terry, don't swear. Oh, fuck off, mate. Just fuck off. Look, I want to say a big thank you to every single person who's tuned in. I want to thank the boys. It's always a pleasure to sit here and speak football with you all. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share before the end of the show. We're back tomorrow with more content as we cover the FA Cup this weekend as well. Everybody, look after yourselves, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.